Hello everyone, and welcome to part 2 of the improved Israeli tech tree. I am Saturn, and today we'll be covering ranks 4, 5, 6, and 7. Now there have been a few changes to the tree since part 1 was released, namely the introduction of the Archer as a rank 3 premium. The Archer is a rear-facing self-propelled gun in the British tech tree, and was captured by the IDF during the Sinai War in 1956. They were used in source service and are now part of the tech tree as a premium. As another addition, I would really appreciate if you subscribed and liked the video. It would help a ton to get this channel up and running. And let's get into the video. Okay, rank 4 is where things get interesting. As this is where the Israeli tree begins already, I will not cover the vehicles already in the tree, because this will be mostly be seeing SPGs, SPAAs, and light tanks, as Israel already has plenty of medium tanks. In rank 4 we have 6 new vehicles, 4 in the tree and 2 premiums. To start is a very improved SPG line, starting with the Su-100. Su-100 was a post-war Soviet assault gun and was given to Egypt by Czechoslovakia. The IDF captured one of them during Operation Kadesh in the 1956 Sinai War. It's unknown if the Su-100 captured by Israel saw combat, but I personally don't think it ever did. It doesn't really make sense for the Israelis to throw one captured vehicle into combat. There wasn't ever really a need for it, and it would have realistically no unit to be attached to. Anyway, the Su-100 would be the same as in the Soviet tree, with the 100mm D10S gun and somewhat good mobility, with average total armor of 75mm. Another note here, the Zaklam Targa, the ATGM carrier at 6.7 of the SS-11 missiles, has been moved down to 6.0 because at 6.7 it is complete shit. Our next tank, or more of an armoured car this one, is the RBY Mark 1 M40. The RBY is a light armoured truck that was designed for export but ended up being used indigenously by the IDF as a reconnaissance vehicle. One of the variants had the 106mm M40 recoilless rifle. That is this vehicle. The M40 had plenty of penetration, but as a recoilless rifle, it had extremely poor velocity. The RBY was very mobile with about 100km top speed, but that is also accompanied by armour that really has no right of being mentioned. The RBY sees battle rating 6.0. Continuing along the RBY is the M72. The M72 Rodesh was a domestically designed self-propelled howitzer using the Short Media as its chassis. The Short Media was a version of the Israeli Centurion. A new turret was designed and fitted with the brand new 155mm M71 L39 field howitzer. The vehicle in game would be basically an Israeli 2S3 or a Type 75, a derp gun. But unlike the 2S3 and Type 75, the Rodesh is a battle rating 6.7. This vehicle potentially had the same armor as the Short Media, about 76mm frontally, but it also may have been removed by the Israelis because it's an SPG, doesn't really need that much armor. The mobility though is not great with only a 35km top speed. The next vehicle is also folded with the Rodesh. This is the AMX Mark 61. This is unsurprisingly a French SPG and was modeled with a new cupola and LMG by Israel. The AMX had the 105mm Obusier de Sonseik Model 1950, which actually did use high explosive anti-tank rounds. With no armor and a decent top speed of 60km, this vehicle meets BR 6.3, and goes somewhat well along the Rodesh. Finish this rank, we have the premium branch. Moving past the M51W, we find the IS-3M. These were given to Egypt by the Soviet Union, and 3 were captured by the IDF in 1967. These are exactly the same as the ISO in the Soviet tree, though there would be a naming difference, as the Israelis knew it as the Stalin 3. Next is a very interesting vehicle, the Merkava Magach. This was the hull of a Merkava that had the turret of the Magag 102 with a 90mm M41 gun. This gun would not perform very well, especially in up tiers, considering it's a 90mm at 7.7. The armor is very interesting though, as the frontally mounted engine would soak up a lot more damage at 7.7 than 9.0, as most tanks at 7.7 probably don't have as much penetration and can't penetrate through the engine like they can in 9.0. That completes rank 4. With good additions at 6.0 and 6.7, there are a lot of interesting new lineups. The Zaklam Tiger, Su-100 and M51s, as well as the Zaklam Dafa D921 from rank 3. 6.7 sees the AMX-13 and the M72, with options of up-tiering the M51, RBY Mark 1, and AMX Mark 61. The addition of the Stalin 3 adds another asset to the already strong 7.3 lineup, and the Merkava Magach would be interesting to throw into the 7.7 lineup of rank 5. Okay, well, let's continue. We have rank 5. So for rank 5, we have 3 tech tree vehicles and 3 premiums to cover. Let's get into it. First is another mech of a Magach, this time with a turret of a Magach 6, and by extension the L7 105mm cannon. Beyond this, and the new BR of 8.0, the mech of a Magach, is the same as rank 4. Next are 2 ATGM characters, the Ram V1 Tow and the Giraffe, both at 8.0. The Ram is a tow launcher on the back of a Ram armored truck, kind of similar to a tow Humvee. The Giraffe is actually supposed to be in the tree, but has not been added yet. The Giraffe is an M113 APC with a tow launcher, kind of similar to the ones found in the Chinese and Italian tech trees. To knock out the final vehicle in this rank in the tech tree, we find the Shorlef. The Shorlef was an SPG prototype made by IMI and Sultan Systems. It was made to compete against the American M109A5, but lost due to being about double the price of an M109. It used the 155mm L52 gun, was auto-loaded, and was based on the hull of the Merkava Mark I. The L52 was a standard NATO SPG run. It used common NATO HE rounds, but had no armor piercing. The Shorlef had a good speed of about 60 km an hour, but despite having composite armor in the front, the Shorlef would not be well protected. Most of the crew would be in the lightly armored turret, and the large size also really wouldn't help the survivability. The frontally mounted engine could also make it difficult to crest ridgelines. Anyway, we find the Shorlef at battle rating 8.0. The 3 premiums for rank 5 are the Bardelos HVMS, Eshel Hayarden, and the Magach 6 Nurse. The HVMS was a light tank prototype using the 60mm Auto HVG gun, the same as the Oval HVG. The Auto has a 250mm of penetration, and the turret was mounted on the M113 chassis. The Eshel Hayarden was a prototype MLRS system on a Centurion chassis. The program made no headway and was kept up in the 80s. That's why it's a premium and not in the tech tree. The Magach 6 Nurse was a Magach 6 with 2 Nurse rocket launchers. The HVMS sees battle rating 7.3, the Eshel 7.0, and the Magach Nurse 7.7. These 6 new vehicles really enhance the 8.0 lineup. With the addition of the Shorlef, Giraffe, Ram Tow, and Mech of a Magach, the 8.0 lineup is now one of Israel's best. The HVMS gives 7.3 a better light tank than the AML-90 or the MX-13, and the Magach Nurse betters up the 7.7 lineup. The Eshel, unfortunately, doesn't really have much of a place, being an MLRS with 4 shots. Anyway, that ends rank 5, and next we're going to move on to rank 6. And rank 6 and 7 is where things get really exciting. Okay, here we go. It's rank 6. This will be a very interesting rank, with 1 light tank, 2 mediums, 2 tank destroyers, 1 event medium, and 1 squadron medium. As another note, the Magach 6R and the Magach 6M have been folded together, and now let's get to rank 6. First is a BR 8.3 medium tank, the Turan 6. This is actually our first new medium tank since rank 3. The Turan 6 is a captured version of the T-62, as the Soviet Union sent tons of T-62s to Egypt and Syria between 1967 and 1973. During the Yom Kippur War, the IDF captured a bunch of them and put them into service in reserve brigades, and eventually the Turan was replaced by incoming American M60s, Magachs. The Turan 6 has the 115mm gun, revolutionary night sights at the time, somewhat reliable armor too, just like the Turan 4, and with a reliable penetration of about 250 to 300mm at about 500 meters. With pretty good speed, the Turan would be a great addition to the 8.3 lineup, which is filled to the brim with shots. Next, we find yet another captured vehicle, the ZSU-23-4 Shoka, with 4 radar-assisted 23mm AZP-23 cannons. The Shoka is an incredible SBAA. The IDF captured about 60 of them in 1973. The Shoka is an excellent SBAA and could definitely supersede the Hovet at 8.0. Moving on, we discover another Ram armored truck. This one, the Ram Mark III AT, had 8 Lachat AGMs. The Lachat is laser guided and has impressive penetration. This is a direct upgrade from the Ram Tow we saw in rank 5. The Ram has an excellent top speed of 96 km per hour, and that would help its otherwise kind of shit survivability. The Ram goes up to BR 9.0. Moving down the line, there is Israel's first IFV, the Asharit RCWS-30. The Asharit was an APC based off the Turan chassis. It was armed with a 30mm RCWS-30 cannon, which is based in a remote weapons station on the top of the vehicle. The Asharit was somewhat mobile, with a 65km top speed, and had somewhat reliable armor against MG fire and some autocannons, but against Sabo, it would not be great. The Asharit goes alongside the BMP-2M at BR 9.3. To finish the rank 5 tank destroyers of this tree, we have the Hafiz. The Hafiz is very similar to the Duraf, which is an M113 carrying missiles. This one, however, carries the Spike and Lost missile. The Spike is a fire and forget Israeli missile, and would be by far the best in the game if added. Honestly, I do think they will be added eventually, and with that, they need to be balanced. If Gaijin adds them in a way where you have to keep line of sight, but not necessarily manually do mouse guidance, I think it would be okay, as long as the BRs are sufficient. And considering a lot of vehicles in this video, as we continue, will get Spike missiles, that should be fine. Hafiz sees the BR 10.0. Personally, I think the minimum BR Spike should see in battle is 9.0. That's why the Hafiz is at 10.0. And the next vehicle I think is very exciting, the Sabra Mark 1. Sabra is an M60 based MBT used by Turkey, but it was designed and modified in Israel by Elbit Systems. It has the same guns as the Merkava Mark 3 and Mark 4, the IMI MG253 with 580mm of penetration. The Sabra is based off the Magach 7C and is basically a huge overhaul of a huge overhaul. The Sabra has a new armor profile and a new fire control system. And the Sabra will be an awesome vehicle, the flagship and 9.7 lineup, and will be an incredible backup to for the Merkava Mark 3s. Moving on to the premium branch, we have a squadron vehicle, the Turan 5SH. The Turan was a T-55 captured by the IDF and pressed into service. It faced minor modifications. The more exciting of these two vehicles in the premium branch is an event vehicle, the Chieftain Mark 4. Chieftain was a British MBT that was shown off to Israel for trials. Israel planned to buy the Chieftain and then produce it in Israel afterwards. Unfortunately, this failed as the UK pulled out of the project, leading Israel to develop Merkava instead. The Chieftain had a 120mm gun, the Ordnance BL-TK-L11, and like other Chieftains, this one has abysmal mobility. A funny story does actually come out of this though, when during the Yom Kippur War, the UK asked Israel to move the two chieftains that were in Israel closer to the middle of the nation, as Egypt and Syria invaded and almost broke through into Israel's heartland. The Israeli Defense Minister, Moshe Dayan, said, "Don't worry, we moved the border." And that's rank 6, a massively strengthened 8.3 lineup, adding the Turan 6, Turan 5SH, Chieftain Mark 4, and potentially the Shulker. The Ram Mark 3 AT adds very well into the 9.0 Merkava lineup, and the Asharit goes to support the Galbatesh. The Sabra and Hafiz also boost the 10.0 lineup. This is probably Israel's second best rank, where we will see some more indigenous vehicles, like the Sabra, Asharit, or Ram Mark 3 AT, and it shows what will come in rank 7. Well, here we go. Best of the best, the top of the game. 11 new vehicles in this rank. This is the climax of these two videos, and this is the place that we've all been waiting for, so let's get into it. There are 11 new vehicles in this rank, and I'll go through them line by line. So here we go. As an evolution of the Sabra Mark 1 with the Sabra Mark 3. Mark 3 is mostly classified, but it does add a laser warning receiver, the same as on Merkava Mark 4, and some new armor. Finished off this line of American vehicles in the tree is an indigenous Israeli vehicle, which is kind of funny. The Sabra ASCOD. The Sabra light tank was designed by Elbit Systems and is currently planned to be in service with the Filipino Army. The Sabra is based off the ASCOD, a collaboration between Spain and Austria. The Elbit version has the 105mm L52 cannon and has 2 Spike ATGMs. Sabra is quite fast, with a top speed around 70 km an hour. The armor is rated for up to 20mm autocannons and has the Iron Fist APS, which increases the armor on long-range maps significantly. The Sabra ASCOD goes straight up to the top at 11.3. Now we go through our Merkavas. Let's have the Merkava Mark 4B. There is the Merkava Mark 4 LIC. This is a version of the Merkava Mark 4 equipped for urban and low-intensity conflict. That's what LIC stands for. The LIC's biggest change is now having a coaxial 50 cal, so it is effectively the same as the Merkava Mark 4B, as neither are equipped with the trophy system. The LIC goes along 11.0 alongside Merkava Mark 4B and Mark 4M. To complete the Merkava line, we find the Merkava Mark 4 Barak, or the Lightning. The Barak's biggest draw in real life is new electronic systems and the world's premier tanker helmet HUD, like the one for the F-35. It also has improvements to the trophy system. The Barak would be the best thing Israel has, and especially if the improvements to trophy are modeled in game. The Merkava Mark 4 Barak sees a BR of 11.3. Next is the pinnacle of our anti-air defense. We have gone from machine guns in the back of half-tracks now to advanced missile systems. This one is the M730 Chaparral, an American design used by Israel. Israel was the only nation to get a kill at the M730, shooting down a Syrian MiG-17 in 1974. The Chaparral has the MIM-72D SAM and has 12 of them, with 4 being launchable at a time. The Chaparral is somewhat mobile too, on par with things like the Roland, SIDAM-25, XM-975, and the ASRAD. This M dispenser is at BR 9.7. To complete the air defense tree, from the HVSD ADAMS. The HVSD is a combined effort from the US and Israel based off the Israeli ADAMS AA platform. This vehicle sits on a Mercedes-Benz 8x8 platform and has a Mark 15 Phalanx CWS radar and Israeli Barak 1 SAMs. It also has the M61 Vulcan cannon. The HVSD would go up to BR 10.7, and I do kind of think this vehicle would be very similar to the Flarak-Rad. Now for 3 very exciting vehicles. The top of the tank destroyer line begins at 10.3 with the Pera. The Pera is an ATGM carrier. That is disguised as a tank. The Pera fires Spike LR and Spike NLOS missiles. The vehicle saw combat in the Second Lebanon War, Operation Cast Lead, and Operation Protective Edge. It was taken out in 2017 due to the nature of the vehicle being declassified, which rendered the vehicle completely useless as people now knew it wasn't actually a tank. The Pera was replaced in the IDF by the IAF's helicopters, which now occupy that role of missile carrier. Moving forward, it's the Eitan. The Eitan is Israel's replacement of the M113, which showed its age during Operation Protective Edge, getting multiple soldiers killed due to poor protection and poor mobility. The Eitan is an 8x8 wheeled IFV and APC, so it would be deadly fast. Eitan has the Mark 44S 30mm cannon and Spike MR missiles, as well as the Iron Fist active protection system. This would make this vehicle insanely powerful, as on long-range maps it could sit back and fire missiles while using Iron Fist to protect itself from missiles, heat, and APFSDS that comes towards it, alongside deadly firepower when held down due to the unmanned turret. Eitan goes all the way to the top at 11.3. To finish our tech tree, we find Namir. Namir is another infantry fighting vehicle. Put into development after the 2004 Gaza War, it was based on the Merkava Mark IV chassis and has the Trophy active protection system. Namir has the same unmanned turret as Eitan, but has a trade-off of better hull armor for less mobility. Namir also has the same advantage as Eitan, hold-down missile firing. Namir accompanies Eitan at 11.3. To finish are the 2 vehicles in the premium branch. One is the obligatory high-tier squadron vehicle, this one being the Sabra Mark II. The Mark II makes a big edge over the Mark I, with a new engine, explosive reactive armor, and a CRTV. This squadron vehicle is at 10.0. The last one is an event vehicle, just the base version of the Merkava Mark IV. It does not have a trophy APS and is kind of similar to the Mark IV-B. Wow, that was a killer top tier. Going from 2 vehicles to 13 is absolutely incredible, and it is a greatly improved lineup. Of course, this does assume Gaijin decompresses BRs to 11.3, which I do think will happen eventually. For the flagship 11.3 lineup, we also have the Mark IV Barak, Sabra, ASCOD, the Eitan, Namir, HVSD, ADAMS, and the options of uptiering the Merkava Mark IV-B, Mark IV-M, and Mark IV LIC. There is even the option of pulling up the Perak. This is an awesome lineup, and I would love to play it, assuming Gaijin adds these vehicles. Well, that's the video. I want to thank everyone so much for watching. Make sure to like and subscribe. It would help this channel grow so much, and I will see you next time.